Hello, and thanks for joining this Help New Mexico CAP60 training. Today we will be covering National Performance Indicator Session, Part 2. Let's do a short overview of our training goals. By the end of this training, we're hoping that we answer the following questions. What are National Performance Indicators? Why are National Performance Indicators important? How do we put National Performance Indicators into a client's case? What National Performance Indicators are there and how do we use them? This is an overview of the questions we hope to answer throughout this training. So what are National Performance Indicators? To CSBG, National Performance Indicators, or NPIs, measure the impact of CSBG network programs and activities on families and communities. To Help New Mexico, National Performance Indicators are used within the CAP60 database to determine what outcomes our clients reached as a result of the services we provided to help them reach their goals. In order to properly generate our annual NASCAS report, NPIs must be entered for every household. Why are NPIs so important? CSBG utilizes this information to measure Help New Mexico's performance. The CAP60 data entry helps to generate our annual NASCAS report. NPIs help us to measure our client outcomes and also helps us to ensure that we maintain CSBG funding. Some things to remember throughout this training. Goals are NPIs in CAP60. All NPIs are specific to each program based on the participants' outcomes. NPIs are required for NASCAS reporting. It is mandatory that each case include at least 2 to 6 NPIs. Always ask the supervisor if you do not understand NPI entry options. Add new NPI entries at intake, exit, and follow-up for every client. Let's break down Goal 1 further to determine how you will be using these NPIs. Outcome Area 1.1, the number and percentage of low-income participants who get a job or become self-employed as a result of community action assistance. Use the following NPIs, or National Performance Indicators, in CAP60 based on the participants' outcomes. NPI 1.1A, unemployed and obtained a job. Our programs assisted the participant in gaining employment. 1.1B, employed and maintained a job for at least 90 days. Our programs assisted a client in obtaining a job and the client has kept that job for at least 90 days minimum. NPI 1.1C, obtain an increase in employment income and or benefits. Our programs assisted the client in increasing their income or benefits. NPI 1.1D, achieved living wage employment and or benefits. Our programs assisted the client in reaching living wage employment and or benefits. Let's move on to Outcome Area 1.2. Participant obtained clothing, tools, licenses, and or testing in support of employment stability. These outcomes are a lot more direct and should be used if the Help New Mexico programs assisted your participant with any of the following. NPI 1.2A, obtained skills, competencies required for employment. 1.2B, completed ABE or GED and received certificate or diploma. 1.2C, completed post-secondary education program and obtained certificate or diploma. 1.2D, enrolled children in before or after school programs. 1.2E, obtained care for child and other dependent. 1.2F, obtained access to reliable transportation or driver's license. 1.2G, obtained healthcare services for themselves or family members. 1.2H, obtained and or maintained safe and affordable housing. 1.2I, obtained food assistance. 1.2J, obtained non-emergency LIHEAP energy assistance. 1.2K, obtained non-emergency WX energy assistance. 1.2L, obtained other non-emergency energy assistance. 1.2M. Obtain items in support of education and training. 1.2N. Completed college preparatory classes, ESL, or citizenship classes. 1.20. Received other assistance which removes barriers to employment. On to Outcome Area 1.3. The number and percentage of low-income households that achieve an increase in financial assets or financial skills as a result of community action assistance, and the aggregated amount of those assets and resources for all participants achieving that outcome. This NPI collects data on participants who achieve their outcomes by asset enhancement or increasing their ability to manage and utilize resources. Please use these outcomes if your programs assisted your participant with any of the following. 1.3.8.1. Qualified for any type of federal or state tax credit. 1.3.8.2. Obtained court-ordered child support payments. 1.3.8.3. Enrolled in telephone lifeline and/or energy discounts. 1.3.8.4. Other projects resulted in an increase in financial assets or financial skills. 1.3.B.1. Demonstrate ability to complete a budget for over 90 days. 1.3.B.2. Opening an individual development account, IDA, or other services account and increase savings and the aggregated amount of savings. 1.3.B.3. Increase their savings through IDA or other savings account and aggregated amount of savings. 1.3.B.5. Received assistance with enrollment in prescription assistance program. 1.3.B.6. Received assistance to prevent loss of home and other home buyer related assistance. 1.3.B.7. Enrolled in classes or projects to increase financial skills. 1.3.F. Number and percent of participants who increase their savings through ISA or other savings account and aggregated amount of savings. 1.3.G. Number and percent of participants capitalizing a small business with accumulated IDA or other savings. 1.3.H. Number and percent of participants pursuing post-secondary education with accumulated IDA or other savings. 1.3.I. Number and percent of participants purchasing a home with accumulated IDA or other savings. 1.3.J. Number and percent of participants purchasing other assets with accumulated IDA or other savings. 1.3.U. Obtain financial literacy. Here is a CSBG quick tip regarding Goal 1. There are additional NPIs that should be cross-referenced just in case they can be used in conjunction with the NPIs you have already selected. If you used NPI 1.1, please cross-reference NPI 2.4. If you used NPI 1.2, please cross-reference NPIs 2.2 and 6.4. And finally, if you use NPI 1.3, please cross-reference 1.2, 3.2, and 6.4. It's time to break down Goal 2 further. The conditions in which low-income people live are improved. Let's start with Outcome Area 2.1. Increase in or safeguarding of threatened opportunities and community resources or services for low-income people in the community as a result of community action projects or initiatives or advocacy with other public and private agencies. Use these indicators if Help New Mexico programs have assisted your participants with any of the following. 2.1.A. Jobs created or saved from reduction or elimination in the community. 2.1.B. Accessible living wage jobs created or saved from reduction or elimination in the community. 2.1.C. Safe and affordable housing units created in the community. 2.1.D. Safe and affordable housing units in the community preserved or improved through construction, weatherization, or rehabilitation achieved by community action activity or advocacy. 2.1.E. Accessible, safe, or affordable healthcare services or facilities for low-income people created or saved from reduction or elimination. 2.1.F. Accessible, safe, and affordable child care or child development placement opportunities for low-income families created or saved from reduction or elimination. 2.1.G. Accessible before school and after school program placement opportunities for low-income families created or saved from reduction or elimination. 2.1.H. Accessible new or expanded transportation resources, or those that are saved from reduction or elimination that are available to low-income people, including public or private transportation. 2.1.I, accessible or increased educational or training placement opportunities, or those that are saved from reduction or elimination that are available for low-income people in community, including vocational, literacy, and life skill training, ABE or GED, and post-secondary education. 2.1.J, other community resources or services provided which resulted in community improvement and revitalization. Outcome Area 2.2. The quality of life and assets in low-income neighborhoods are improved by a community action initiative or advocacy. Use these indicators of Help New Mexico programs have assisted your participants with any of the following. 2.2a. Increases in community assets. 2.2b. Increase in the availability or preservation of community facilities. 2.2c. Increase in the availability or preservation of community services to improve public health and safety. 2.2d. Increase in the availability or preservation of commercial services within low-income neighborhoods. 2.2e. Increase or preservation of neighborhood quality of life resources. Outcome Area 2.3. The number of community members working with community action to improve conditions in the community. Use these indicators if Help New Mexico programs have assisted your participants with any of the following. 2.3a. Mobilization of community members who have participated in the community revitalization and anti-poverty initiatives. 2.3b. Number of volunteer hours donated to the agency. 2.4a. Jobs created at least in part by the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. 2.4b. Jobs saved at least in part by the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. Here's another CSBG quick tip regarding Goal 2. There are additional NPIs that should be cross-referenced, just in case they can be used in conjunction with the NPIs you have already selected. If you use NPI 2.1, please cross-reference NPIs 1.1, 1.2, 2.4, and 6.4. If you used NPI 2.2, please cross-reference NPIs 3.1 and 3.2. If you used NPI 2.3, please cross-reference NPI 3.1. Let's break down Goal 3. Low-income people own a stake in their community. Goal 3 only consists of two outcome areas, 3.1 and 3.2. Outcome Area 3.1, the number of volunteer hours donated to community action. NPI 3.1 collects the number of hours donated by low-income volunteers to community action. Only include volunteer hours donated by low-income individuals. Volunteer time can be for any program or activity. To document Help New Mexico low-income volunteer outcomes, use the following NPI. 3.1a. Total number of volunteer hours donated by low-income individuals to community action. Outcome Area 3.2. The number of low-income people mobilized as a direct result of community action initiative to engage in activities that support and promote their own well-being and that of their community. A broad range of community action activities that reflect civic investment of low-income people could generate outcomes to be reported under this performance measure. Among the most common activities here at Help New Mexico are participation on a community action agency tripartite governing board, participation on a Head Start governing boards or advisory committees, election to public housing governing boards, election to PTA office or Title I parent council or neighborhood school, purchasing a home or acquiring a business. To further document Help New Mexico low-income volunteer outcomes, use the following NPIs. 3.2a, participating in formal community organizations, government, boards, or councils. 3.2b, acquiring a business. 3.2c, purchasing his or her own home. 3.2d, engaged in non-governance community activities or groups. 3.2e, low-income individuals that successfully complete first-time homebuyer workshop. Here is a CSBG quick tip regarding Goal 3. There are additional NPIs that should be cross-referenced, just in case they can be used in conjunction with the NPIs you have already selected. If you use NPI 3.2, please cross-reference NPIs 1.2, 1.3, 2.3, and 6.4. Let's break down Goal 4. Partnerships among supporters and providers of services to low-income people are achieved. Goal 4 only consists of Outcome Area 4.1, the number of organizations, both public and private, that Community Action actively works with to expand resources and opportunities in order to achieve family and community outcomes. It is expected that all CAAs work with other public and private organizations to expand service opportunities for individuals or families or to achieve community improvement outcomes. To document Help New Mexico collaboratives, use the following NPIs: 4.1A, Nonprofit; 4.1B, Faith-Based; 4.1C, Local Government; 4.1D, State Government; 4.1E, Federal Government; 4.1F, For-Profit Business or Corporation; 4.1G, Consortiums or Collaborations; 4.1H, Housing Consortiums or Collaborations; 4.1I, School Districts; 4.1J, Institutions of Post-Secondary Education or Training; 4.1K, Financial Banking Institutions; 4.1L, Health Service Institutions; 4.1M, Statewide Associations or Collaborations; and finally 4.1N, the total number of organizations and total number of partnerships CAAs work with to promote family and community outcomes. Now let's break down Goal 5. Agencies increase their capacity to achieve results. Goal 5 also only includes one outcome area, 5.1, the number of human capital resources available to community action that increase agency capacity to achieve family and community outcomes. This provides a snapshot that shows the extent of human capital resources available to CAAs and to the community. To document Help New Mexico human capital that increases capacity, use the following NPIs: 5.1A, number of certified community action professionals; 5.1B, number of nationally certified Roma trainers; 5.1C, number of family development certified staff; 5.1D, number of child development certified staff; 5.1E, number of staff attending trainings; 5.1F, number of board members attending trainings; 5.1G, hours of staff in trainings; 5.1H, hours of board members in trainings. Here is a CSBG quick tip for Goal 5. There are additional NPIs that should be cross-referenced just in case they can be used in conjunction with the NPIs you have already selected. If you use NPI 5.1, please cross-reference NPI 3.1. Let's look at Goal 6 more closely. Low-income people, especially vulnerable populations, achieve their potential by strengthening family and other supportive systems. Outcome Area 6.1, the number of vulnerable individuals receiving services from community action who maintain an independent living situation as a result of those services. Community action agencies with programs or activities that help senior citizens and individuals with disabilities continue to live safe and functional lives outside of an assisted care or nursing home facility should report information to this performance indicator. To document outcomes for vulnerable individuals through Help New Mexico programs, use the following NPIs. 6.1A, senior citizens maintain an independent living. 6.1B.1, ages 0 to 17. 6.1B.2, ages 18 to 54. 6.1B.3, ages 55 and over. 6.1B.4, age unknown. Outcome Area 6.2, the number of low-income individuals served by community action who sought emergency assistance and the number of those individuals to whom assistance was provided. Agencies should report those services and resources that are provided to meet immediate short-term needs of low-income individuals. A broad range of community action activities could generate outcomes to be reported under this performance measure. To document Help New Mexico emergency assistance programs, use the following NPIs. 6.2A, emergency food. 6.2B, emergency fuel or utility payments funded by LIHEAP or other public and private funding sources. 6.2C, emergency rent or mortgage assistance. 6.2D, emergency car or home repair. 6.2E, emergency temporary shelter. 6.2F, emergency medical care. 6.2G, emergency protection from violence. 6.2H, emergency legal assistance. 6.2I, emergency transportation. 6.2J, emergency disaster relief. 6.2K, emergency clothing. 6.2L, other emergency assistance. 6.2M, assistance with items for holidays. 6.2N, assistance with school supplies for children. Outcome Area 6.3, the number and percentage of all infants, children, youth, parents, and other adults participating in developmental or enrichment programs who achieve program goals. NPI 6.3 collects data on unduplicate individuals based on activities that produce developmental or functioning outcomes for the above-mentioned groups. To document Help New Mexico child and family developmental outcomes, use the following NPIs. 6.3A.1. Infants and children obtain age-appropriate immunizations, medical, and dental care. 6.3A.2. Infant and child health and physical development are improved as a result of adequate nutrition. 6.3A.3. Children participate in preschool activities to develop school readiness skills. 6.3A.4. Children who participate in preschool activities are developmentally ready to enter kindergarten or first grade. 6.3B.1. Youth improve health and physical development. 6.3B.2. Youth improve social emotional development. 6.3B.3. Youth avoid risk-taking behavior for a defined period of time. 6.3B.4. Youth have reduced involvement with criminal justice system. 6.3B.5. Youth increase academic, athletic, or social skills for school success. 6.3B.6. Youth employment projects. 6.3B.7. Youth leadership projects. 6.3B.8. Youth increase academic skills by completing educational requirements. 6.3C.1. Parents and other adults learn and exhibit improved parenting skills. And finally, 6.3C.2. Parents and other adults learn and exhibit improved family functioning skills. Outcome Area 6.4. Low-income people who are unable to work, especially seniors, adults with disabilities, and caregivers, for whom barriers to family stability are reduced or eliminated. NPI 6.4 collects outcome data on unduplicated participants who achieved family support outcomes as a result of services provided as part of case management with the goal of eliminating or reducing barriers to family stability. To document Help New Mexico family support outcomes, use the following NPIs. 6.4A. Enroll children in before or after school programs. 6.4B. Obtain care for child or other dependent. 6.4C. Obtain access to reliable transportation and or driver's license. 6.4D. Obtained healthcare services for themselves or family members. 6.4E. Obtain safe and affordable housing. 6.4F. Obtain food assistance. 6.4G. Obtain non-emergency LIHEAP energy assistance. 6.4H. Obtain non-emergency WX energy assistance. 6.4I. Obtained other non-emergency energy assistance. Outcome Area 6.5. The number of services provided to low-income individuals and or families. Agencies should report those services and resources that are provided to meet immediate short-term needs of low-income individuals and families. To document Help New Mexico services provided, please use the following NPIs. 6.5A. Food boxes. 6.5B. Pounds of food. 6.5C. Units of clothing. 6.5D. Rides provided. 6.5E. Information and referral calls. Time for another CSBG quick tip in regards to Goal 6. There are additional NPIs that should be cross-referenced just in case they can be used in conjunction with the NPIs you have already selected. If you use NPI 6.2, please cross-reference NPIs 1.2 and 6.4. If you use NPI 6.4, please cross-reference NPIs 1.2 and 6.2. Let's take a closer look at some of the NPI reporting methods we may see more often. Since Help New Mexico provides educational assistance through several programs, let's look at some NPIs we may come into contact most. ABE or GED reporting. If a participant receives his ABE or GED certification, you should utilize NPI 1.2 for reporting purposes. Completed ABE or GED and received certificate or diploma. There are no indicators for beginning post-secondary education. When I say post-secondary education, I mean education beyond high school. They would only get indicated if they receive a post-secondary certificate or diploma. In this instant, you would utilize NPI 1.2C for reporting. Completed post-secondary education. Reporting training information can get confusing. Let's look at some examples of how reporting methods should be considered. Some trainings are easy to report, like financial literacy. You would utilize NPI 1.3U, number and percent of participants who completed financial literacy training. This is pretty straightforward. Let's look at another. Heat stress training is a little more complex. It would be reported under NPI 1.2G, obtained healthcare services for self and/or family member. This training is reported in this manner because the information is provided to keep the entire family safe in the environment where overheating could take place. Pesticide training can also be a challenge. It should be reported under NPI 1.2A, obtain skills and competencies required for employment. This training is reported in this manner because the information is provided to farm workers and is required for them to be successful in the farming industry. Documenting individual versus household indicators. Some indicators require that you count the entire household. Some only allow you to count the individual who received the service. Let's review this list of indicators to determine which is which. Indicators 6.2A, 6.2B, 6.2C, 6.2D, 6.2E, 6.2H, and 6.2J all require you to report for the entire household. Indicators 6.2F, 6.2I, and 6.2K require that you report for the individual receiving the services. And finally, indicator 6.2G requires that you report for all household members benefiting from this service. Let's review reporting for senior citizens and participants with disabilities. A senior is anyone 55 and over. Report all seniors who receive services under NPI 6.1A, vulnerable individuals receiving services. Let's move on to participants with disabilities. When entering this indicator for participants with disabilities, you will need to enter one of the following. 6.1B1, ages 0 to 17 years. If the participant is 0 to 17 years old and are disabled, you would report them using this NPI. Same goes for 6.1B2, 18 to 54, and 6.1B3, 55 years and older. Do not enter a person with a disability under NPI 6.1B. Use the indicators with the age divisions. A senior with a disability may be entered under both of these indicators. You will need to have documentation of the disability. Let's take a look at employment supports. You can report employment support activity under NPI 1.1 under the following circumstances. You have provided additional job support services, such as job readiness, job search assistance, or job placement. You have thoroughly documented these activities in your case notes. You have completed the required follow-up. If these steps have not been taken, the outcome will only be documented under NPI 1.2, Employment Supports. Let's review the questions from the beginning of the training. Question 1. What are national performance indicators? Question 2. Why are national performance indicators important? Question 3. How do we put national performance indicators into a client's case? Question 4. What national performance indicators are there and how do we use them? Throughout this training, I am hopeful that we have answered all of these questions. If for whatever reason you have more questions or concerns regarding national performance indicators, please contact the Training and Development Department at your earliest convenience or take your questions to your immediate supervisor. Thank you for attending this Help New Mexico CAP60 training. Please remember to complete your training acknowledgement form and return it to the Help New Mexico Training and Development Department at your earliest convenience. Have a great day.